Carolina taking a look at our starting lineups for the visiting Connecticut Huskies. Paige Beckers, AZ Fudd, Caitlin Chen, Sarah Strong, and Jana El Alfi. For South Carolina, Tahina Paopao, Raven Johnson, Bree Hall, Chloe Pitts, and Sanaya Fagan rounds out the starting lineup for South Carolina. Dawn Staley telling us before the game it's really Fagan who has become that linchpin for the group on the floor. When she leaves, everything else gets more difficult for them. She's become the backline communicator they need. 71 straight home wins for South Carolina. And now we're ready for tip of our Sonic blockbuster matchup. Chloe Kitts and the freshman Sarah Strong jumping up. Connecticut wins the tip, and here we go.
Matchup to keep your eye on. Bree Hall on Paige Beckers. Bree Hall, a good long defender. Had that assignment a year ago as well.
Here's Chen trying to work her way through the paint. El Alfi travels, and Connecticut turns it over. Not something they do often. They are first in the nation in assist-to-turnover ratio. They turn it over just 10.8 times per game, fifth fewest in Division I. Gino Auriemma's team has dropped the last 4 to South Carolina. He told us today he felt a little better than he has over the last few years because of them having a few more depth pieces, as Johnson can't hit the 3 and Strong the rebound.
That play was initiated with an on-ball screen for Tahina Paopao. The way she is shooting the basketball, you have to fight over and send attention to her.
Beckers gets free, can't dump it in. Rebound Kitts, able to rake it away from Beckers. Here's Paopao, who led the nation in three-point shooting a season ago. This year going inside more, can't finish there as El Alfi came over with the help. Beckers in transition, pull-up 3 is good, and Paige Beckers is on the board in Columbia.
And Coach Gino Auriemma has to like the aggressive mentality that Paige Beckers has come out with here early, taking their last 2 shots.
He talked about wanting to put the ball in her hands more. Wants that level of aggression from Paige Beckers as well as AZ Fudd. Chloe Kitts in the mid-range, feathery touch.
And again, that's because of the attention that Tahina Paopao gets in the on-ball screen. Chloe Kitts very good in the pick and pop, able to drain that one with space.
She had a big game last year in a win against Connecticut, 14 points on 7 of 11 shooting.
Fagan got hit in the eye.
Alfi bounces underneath, and Strong lays it in. And South Carolina is going to have to address that with Sanaya Fagan as she continues to be hunched over, favoring that eye.
Take a look at the last possession with the pick and roll. Tahina Paopao is so good from 3. You have to fight over, but you also have to get that step from Sarah Strong. And when she retreats, Kitts has plenty of time to hit the mid-range jumper right here. Yeah, she got hit right in the eye and the face.
And so Fagan will check out, and the athletic training staff of South Carolina will look at Fagan. This is exactly what Dawn Staley was talking to us about, Rebecca, how Fagan has really been the key piece for them on the floor. She's gotten into foul trouble at times this season, and South Carolina really feels her absence.
Especially on the defensive end, because she is such a good communicator and helps everyone know where they're supposed to be.
Here's the freshman Edwards floating it in. Joyce Edwards coming off a career-high 28 points last time out.
You don't often see a big with that kind of body control switching over to the Euro after the first dribble.
Dawn Staley talks about how even-keeled she is. Speaking of good freshmen, Sarah Strong turns that one over, trying to find the senior Beckers.
Couple of turnovers now for Connecticut, but both times they've been dead ball turnovers, and we know how deadly South Carolina can be when they can push out in transition. They haven't had that opportunity yet.
Edwards putting it on the deck, giving it up. Hall thought about the 3. Edwards 10 to shoot for Paopao. Her 3. Back ironing off. El Alfi the rebound for Connecticut.
Tahina Paopao was amazing from three when these two teams met a season ago.
Azzi Fudd was wide open, jumping up and down for the ball, and Caitlin Chen just never saw her. El Alfie, oh, nice handle and the finish. Okay, 6-5.
That's really not something we have seen Janet El Alfie pull out of her bag this season.
Went deep, deep, deep in that bag. Here's Kitts, wrapping in, meets bodies, and loses it out of bounds. Good interior D there from Connecticut.
Connecticut's gone a lot with a small lineup recently, and the more they can get from El Alfie, and what a crossover that time. It is a bonus for UConn on the offensive end.
Let's get an update on Sanaya Fagan from Holly Rowe.
Sanaya Fagan is in the vomitory right behind me, and she is getting an extensive examination on her eye. She's on the training table. They're really taking a good look at her. I'll keep you updated as far as we know.
All right, Holly, thank you very much. Certainly hope Fagan is all right and able to come back as Azzi Fudd can't hit the jumper. You know, Ariema talked about the importance of her hitting ones early. Paopao connects.
Dawn Staley has talked about the importance of Tahina Paopao hitting shots in big games early to help her team exhale and know that they have that weapon working for them.
Fudd on the drive, push shot, banks off. Rebound into the arms of Fudd. Chen will fire, can't hit. Rebound Hall. A season ago, Paopao at 21 against Connecticut.
16.
Firing again. Can't hit that one.
16 of those 21, Ryan, came in the first half a year ago.
To that point about helping them exhale. Good action early. Foul here on Hall. Will keep things with Connecticut as Peckers banks that in. Fagan back on the bench for South Carolina. Good sign, although still having to work that right eye a little bit. KK Arnold will check in. The foul on Bree Hall, her first. She will check out. Malaysia Fulwiley into the game for this deep South Carolina team, #1 in the nation in bench points, and it's not even close.
Fulwiley can just bring so much energy on the defensive end, also in transition offensively.
Beckers wiggles into a whistle on Fulwiley, and Paige Beckers is going to shoot two.
It's important for UConn, for Paige Beckers to do that, to seek out contacts, to get fouls called, to get to the free throw line, just to be aggressive offensively and not just looking for her teammates, which she always does so well, but looking for her own field goal opportunities.
The National Player of the Year is a freshman. Then last year, after a couple of injury-riddled season, was a unanimous first-team All-American and is projected to be the first pick in the 2025 WNBA draft, as Beckers hits both. (9-7) Connecticut, midway through the first. Fulwiley being harassed by Arnold. Fulwiley shovels underneath, then Kitts can't lay it in, gets it back, and stuffs it home.
And all of that was created by Malaysia Fulwiley, her ability to get into the paint and draw multiple defenders.
We saw Connecticut really struggle with dribble penetration against Tennessee. Perhaps something South Carolina can take advantage of today. Here's Beckers, pull-up jumper, rims off. El Alfie goes over the back and is whistled for the foul. Timeout on the floor. Tied at 9 in the first. Fun action.
The stars are out here in South Carolina. Paige Beckers playing confidently, stepping into that three, and Tahina Paopao looking at the D and then draining the three.
Well, UConn has lost 3 games this year, and there's been a familiar theme in all of them, Rebecca.
It's remarkable how poorly they have shot from three in those 3 losses. Many of those shots have been uncontested and good looks. So that's one of the reasons this is so important. You get out in transition. Look at how wide open Paige Beckers is on that one right now. UConn, 1 of 2 from deep.
It's kind of a significant bucket there. Oh, sorry, partner. Paige Beckers just blowing by you.
I made the list, right?
That's true.
So, hey,
we were going to cut the graphic off at 11, but we thought, we might as well.
Congratulations to Paige Beckers.
Carol Walters up next. The Paige Beckers now 2,136 points and counting. Just 20 behind D on that list as well.
That's impressive.
Tied at 9. Under 4.5 to go in the first quarter. First of 2 games on ABC. The second one terrific as well. Texas and LSU. Here's Edwards. Edwards spins away from traffic, can operate as a point forward, and shows you why.
That was really impressive because Connecticut's defense had really stymied South Carolina doing much there. So Edwards just went one-on-one over a bigger defender.
First lead of the quarter for South Carolina. El Alfie gets 3. Good minutes early here for El Alfie.
These are huge minutes for El Alfie, and she's a player who sometimes through this season will miss that first one and relies on her offensive board to then finish. She has been a good finisher here early, Ryan.
Also had the crossover of the year.
That's right.
For Wiley going to get called for the foul here, and that will be number 2 on Malaysia for Wiley. So she will check out with her second personal, and Tessa Johnson will come in as Fagan comes back in as well after getting hit in the eye in the first earlier.
Oh yeah, you know, Malaysia Wiley right there gets KK Arnold in the face. Now Connecticut with the subbing they have, they are now with their smaller lineup. And Ashlyn Shade in. This is essentially a 4-guard around Sarah Strong lineup, and Sarah Strong has guard-like skills as well.
Right, Strong also can hit from 3 very capably. Strong, trying to work Fagan, trying to use some speed on her. Shade in the paint, needs some help, finds it in Beckers. Beckers on the attack, can't put it in. The putback won't go either. Rebound off Pow, gonna stay here with Connecticut. They coming up next, number 3 Texas hosts number 5 LSU at the Moody Center in Austin. Courtney Lyle, Carolyn Peck will be on the call. But looked like she had space to pull, did not there.
It's important for UConn that they are also competing on the boards. They have not been a great rebounding team this year.
Fudd's pull-up won't go. And AZ Fudd has gotten some good looks, but 0 for 3 to start this game. Does that temper her aggression at all? That's something Gina Auriemma is always mindful of, wants her to stay aggressive even when she misses shots early. Edwards off the double. Johnson can't hit the 3.
And that's who you want to double off of if you're UConn, is Raven Johnson. She's not shot the 3 well.
Ashlyn Shade rings in a 3.
I like the matchup on this end for South Carolina of Joyce Edwards, because she's got Paige Beckers on her. Of course, a year ago, Paige played a lot of the time at the 4 and banging, but Edwards has the size and strength. Yes, I'd look to go to her.
Raven Johnson was trying to get it in her. Raven Johnson goes on the attack instead. Can't finish. Becker's extra feed. Fudd misses the wide open corner pop. AZ Fudd 0 for 4 to start this game. Here's Pow. Off the fake, and the pull-up is short. And Sarah Strong the rebound. Fudd with some space again. Fudd putting it on the deck, wrapping it side, and reversing it home.
Dawn Staley told us that the #1 focus in this game for her team has to be transition defense. And that time it was a little bit in the secondary, but still a big ended up on AZ Fudd. She took advantage.
South Carolina has won 71 straight home games as that pass goes out of bounds to Connecticut.
AZ Fudd comes down, recognizes she's got a 6'3" big on her, just a little shoulder fake, but what do you have to do against a very good shot blocker? Use the rim to protect your shot. Fudd does that beautifully.
Wednesday was just incredible. 34 points, 13 of 22 from the floor, hit 8 threes. Over her last 5 games, she has shot it at 63% from 3. Beckers sets the screen. Here is Fudd. 8 to shoot. Fudd gets it off to Beckers. 5 to shoot. Beckers into the corner. Arnold on the attack. Blurs in with the layup. And Connecticut has opened up a 7-point lead with a 7-0 run.
McDaniel's a very good defender. That was a tough move by KK Arnold.
9-0 in the last 3 minutes in favor of the Huskies. Pow connects. Rebecca, you talked about it earlier. When South Carolina needs a big bucket, Pow delivers.
She is massive, in particular in this game, because of the calming presence she brings.
Shade, you bet. Ashlyn Shade with her second three of the quarter.
We talked about the importance of the three ball to UConn. They are now 3 for 5 on the day.
And Shade shooting it at 42% on the season. Gino Auriemma said, look, we are a jump shooting team. That means we are going to have to hit quite a few more threes than South Carolina if we are going to win this game. Has to like the early returns here, 3 for 5. Pow, not that time. Rebound knocked around, and that will do it for the first. Connecticut, a 7-point lead after one. We will chat with Gino Auriemma, fired up right now, but a big first quarter for his team. That is coming up next after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Its exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by the Sonic Fun 99 menu. Now with the Junior Deluxe Cheeseburger. Start of the second quarter in South Carolina, and moments ago, Holly Rowe with Connecticut head coach Gino Auriemma.
Coach, you've gone to that smaller lineup. How do you think that's played out for you so far?
So far, so good. You know, like I said earlier, you know, I think it comes down to can we make enough shots down that end? You know, and we've done a pretty good job of that. But we got to keep it, you know, keep changing it, keep them off balance a little bit. Be big, be small. You know, they're not an easy matchup, but 1 quarter down and 3 to go.
You've talked about the importance of having Paige and AZ have an aggressive mindset. What stands out that they've both got 5 shot attempts already? Well,
that's what we need. Now we need a couple more makes. But, yeah, the more times we can get them shooting the ball, obviously, the better for us. That draws a lot of attention, and then you get Ashlyn Shade with 2 open threes. So we're going to try to get Sarah more involved now in the second quarter. So let's keep our fingers crossed.
Thanks, Coach.
All right.
Well, thank you very much, Holly. Gino Auriemma and UConn handing South Carolina their largest first quarter deficit since 2021.
Ryan, we're going with our manager spotlight for this game. That is Rocco DeSantis. He's a senior. He's been a 4-year manager for UConn. The ever important job. He makes Coach Auriemma's coffee every day. 2 cream, 2 sugar. But this is a young man who has done so much for this program, including starting their Instagram account. UConn Women's Basketball Managers provides terrific content. So model of managerial excellence right there.
Rebecca highlighting a different manager each broadcast this season. And this is the stat we were talking about with South Carolina and the largest deficit they faced at home since 2021 after a first quarter. Here's Tessa Johnson. Always can be a difference maker off the bench. The sophomore, we saw it last year in the national championship game, as a foul's called here on Ashlyn Shade, who was trying to hang with the bigger Chloe Kitts.
Yeah, it took some time to get the switch they wanted, but very specific. Let's get a guard onto Chloe Kitts and let her post up inside. Really intentional, good offensive set by South Carolina.
Dawn Staley has talked to us about the way Kitts has worked, the time she has spent in the gym getting better and better, and we've seen it in the production this season for Chloe Kitts. Kitts looking into Edwards, who has Beckers on her back. Pow, 8 to shoot. Kitts looking in again, 5 to shoot, will put it up. Can't hit and Shade the rebound. They wanted to go into Edwards on Beckers, but couldn't quite find the angle.
There was enough congestion by the UConn help defense to make that a tough pass.
Easy Fudd, Paige Beckers, both 1 of 5 in that first quarter. They're both aggressive. Here's Strong. Strong on the interior, flips it in. Gino Auriemma said wanted more touches for the freshman.
And that's a great way to do it. A pick and roll with Paige Beckers and Sarah Strong. So tough to defend.
Here's Tessa Johnson flipping it out.
Chloe Kitts can make that shot. She's got to look for that 15-footer.
Pow. Working through traffic. Tough with the handle. Trying to keep it in the front court. Does. 7 to shoot. Connecticut defense really doing a nice job early against South Carolina. Pow flips it up. Can't bank it in. And Fudd the rebound for the Huskies. Here's AZ Fudd. Pops it out. Becker's on the move. Ashlyn Shade lines it up. Again! Ashlyn Shade with her third three of the half. Connecticut a 12-point lead. 2 minutes into the second quarter. A 17-3 run over the last 6 minutes for Connecticut. There's Maddie McDaniel. McDaniel, Euros inside, can't finish it, and strong the rebound. Connecticut's done a nice job securing the defensive glass. Bud connects! Connecticut piping hot from three, and Dawn Staley needs a timeout. A 15-point Connecticut lead.
And this has to be the recipe for success on the road against a paint-dominant team, taking and making threes. Back in Columbia, where UConn has a 15-point lead, Gino Auriemma told us before the game UConn had to make threes. How do you get good looks? You get them in transition. UConn has done a great job corralling defensive boards, pushing pace, and getting these open looks in their secondary right now. 5 of 7 from deep.
Remember, 24% from three over their 3 losses. Big difference so far to start this game, why they have a 15-point lead. Let's check in now with Holly Rowe.
In that last huddle, Dawn Staley said to her team, we have got to disrupt them. She told us before the game they play pretty basketball. If we let UConn play pretty basketball, it's going to be a hard win. They'd want to be more aggressive physically, get them off their passing lanes, get them off of their tracks to the basket, particularly in transition. And then she also reminded them, we've got to move the ball. Just 2 South Carolina assists. Too much dribbling, not enough ball movement.
Yeah, Holly, it's looked at times as Edwards can't hit the jumper that they've almost been paralyzed by trying to exploit the mismatch in their half-court sets.
And it would be so much easier defensively if they can make a shot. Make UConn take it out of the basket. Go back and set.
Yeah, South Carolina now has missed 8 of their last 9 as Strong able to save it, and Becker's able to finish it. What a big recovery there from Sarah Strong, and it leads to another bucket.
Good hands by Johnson, but again, the pick and roll, Paige Becker, Sarah Strong, a weapon that might sometimes be underutilized by the Huskies.
Here's our ACC Big 12 Big Monday doubleheader on ESPN. Cooper Flagg leads number 3 Duke against Virginia at 8 Eastern. Then Caleb Love and number 13 Arizona take on Baylor in Waco. Connecticut a 17-point lead. Edwards spins in and lays it home, plus the foul. Big bucket there for Joyce Edwards and a chance for 3.
Been really impressed with Joyce Edwards and her ability to make something out of nothing. Look at the extra hands. KK Arnold there. Couple dribbles in and the spin back, finishing with contact. This young woman has really come alive, especially over the course of the last 5 or 6 games.
We were talking with Dawn Staley about Joyce Edwards, who she said, look, benefited from the consistent playing time with Ashlyn Watkins out for the season, who is a key piece for South Carolina, but now Edwards having to step up with more minutes, and then also said how even-keeled Edwards is, the way the game is slowed down for her, as AZ Fudd can't pop that one in. Raven Johnson gets tied up, and the possession arrow belongs to Connecticut.
Ashlyn Shade has been outstanding so far in this game. She is 3 for 3 from 3. A year ago in this matchup, she really struggled. She went 2 of 11 from deep in that one. Here you see her get her hands on the basketball for the jump ball situation.
Beckers tosses it in. Here's Strong, guarded by Edwards. Freshman on freshman. 2 of the best in the nation. Strong, back to Beckers, a deep 3. Short, rebound Shade, again a winning play. Beckers able to save it over to Fudd. AZ Fudd separates, can't hit, and Fagan the rebound. Hall puts it down to the crowd, squeezes it out. Johnson dumps it in, and Fagan lays it home.
That was started by Hall with the dribble penetration, touching the paint, getting rid of it. South Carolina needs to continue to get looks inside.
5 straight points from South Carolina. Dump it in, knocked away, stays here. There's Fagan defensively.
See Hall with the dribble penetration, touches in the paint. Help comes from AZ Fudge. She's able to get it to the corner, and then Johnson with the pass inside. It's the easiest look South Carolina has gotten in a while.
Now Malaysia Full-Wiley will check back in. Picked up 2 quick fouls and headed back to the bench. Here's Fudd. Can't hit that one. Rebounds. Ashlyn Shade again able to save the possession for Connecticut. Beckers whirls around. Fudd will drive it this time. The pull-up won't go. AZ Fudd, a lot of good looks. Here's Full-Wiley in transition. Lays it in.
And that's why you put Malaysia Full-Wiley back in the game with a couple of fouls. She's electric. You need to continue to keep this crowd involved. Just explodes out. Very few players are going to be able to catch Malaysia Full-Wiley when she's going full speed in transition. We talked about how dangerous South Carolina is when they can push pace. They've been able to get stops, get the boards, go the other way now.
And they finally are watching some misses from Connecticut after Huskies had made 6 straight shots. They've now missed 5 in a row. It has helped spark this 7-0 South Carolina run after falling behind by 17. 5:08 to go in the second quarter. South Carolina has won 71 straight home games, 4th longest streak in Division I history. Connecticut has the record with 99 straight. Then they followed that up with 98 straight. Stanford had a stretch of 82 straight between 2007 and 2012.
Really good fronting defense by Joyce Edwards, not allowing Sarah Strong to get it in the pinch post.
Strong in the corner, connects on a contested 3.
That's what Sarah Strong does. She is a terrific three-point shooter for her position.
Strong, the #1 recruit in the nation this season. Malaysia Full-Wiley. Nice pass back to Fagan. Deflected into the arms of Strong.
That's why you play defense with high hands. Get the little tip on that for El Alfi.
Strong dumps it down. El Alfi lays it in. So Gino Auriemma going bigger in response out of the timeout, and it pays immediate dividends.
And he talked to Holly Rowe. He's going to try to continue to go back and forth. Big lineup, small lineup.
5 straight out of the timeout for Connecticut. Full-Wiley lost her footing, and then the ball. Here's Beckers with numbers. Beckers dishes out. Chen will fire. And hit from 3. Connecticut 7 of 11 from downtown in this first half.
You don't quite have the same mismatches South Carolina doesn't when UConn has their bigger lineup on the floor in terms of going inside in the paint.
Ball stops on a dime and flips it in, plus the foul.
Bree Hall, such great size and length at her size, at her position, and she's got Ashlyn Shade on her, a smaller defender, comes inside. Ooh, not a whole lot of contact there. Great finish, though, for Hall.
And that's a significant foul because it's #2 on Ashlyn Shade, who has been a critical piece in this first half.
Shooting and rebounding. At her size, she's been really doing a good job on the glass.
So Shade checks out. So does Strong. Hall misses the free throw. Beckers the rebound. Paige Beckers with 6 assists in this first half.
Aubrey Griffin in for the first time. She can be a real energy player for the Connecticut Huskies.
South Carolina with Hall, Edwards, Pow, Tessa Johnson, and Raven Johnson.
It's a stagnant possession for UConn. Good defense by South Carolina.
Here's Chen. pull up from the free throw line, rims off. El Alfi, the offensive rebound. Can't put it back in. Another chance, and she's fouled. Jana El Alfi has been a real difference maker in this first half. Against Tennessee, barely felt her in that game on the interior. She's been massive for Connecticut in this first half against South Carolina.
Without question, this is Jana El Alfi's best game of her season. Without question. The toughness that she is showing, the aggressiveness on both ends of the floor. There are times this season where she can be timid. Not today.
Paige Beckers will get a breather. Beckers 7 points, 6 assists, a couple of rebounds. Now Alfi hits the first. Hey, coming up. Hey, we know those ladies. Janae, Drea coming up at the half after doing a terrific job with game day here in Columbia with these outstanding fans. As El Alfi hits both free throws, an 18-point Connecticut lead.
Ryan, it is striking. South Carolina only 10 rebounds so far in this game. Only 2 on the offensive end. They're not as dominant on the rebounding side as they have been in past years, but they're still a much better rebounding team than we've seen today.
Yes. You usually do not see them a -9 on the glass.
Yes.
Johnson lost the handle. Arnold comes up with it. Nice dish to Chen. 2-on-1. Bud back to Chen for the lay. And it is a 20-point Connecticut lead. A whistle underneath against Connecticut on the drive from Hall.
The players off the bench for UConn have been really good. We talked about Ashlyn Shade, but how about KK Arnold? She is full of energy and spunk, saves the ball, advances, and then AZ Fudd doing a good job getting Chen a good look.
Johnson catch, fire, no. Long rebound Arnold. Teams up with Griffin. Here's Chen. Kicking it out. El Alfi traveled. And Connecticut turns it over. Gino Auriemma not pleased with the call, feeling like there was nothing illegal about that movement from El Alfi, or maybe telling his team
telling her to slow down.
Yeah.
Telling her to slow down, yeah.
You know, sometimes it's hard to decipher, is the displeasure with his own team or with the officials?
And Ryan, they do call traveling differently overseas, including in Egypt.
Here's Raven Johnson. That's where El Alfi is from. Sakima Walker travels, and South Carolina turns it over for an 8th time in this first half. It is not often that you see South Carolina down like this, especially at home. They have been the preeminent power in college basketball over the last 8 seasons. 3 championships in that time. Chen, short on that one, follows it up. Bree Hall on the floor for it, able to win the possession for South Carolina. Pow flips it off, tipped out of bounds. Last touch, Raven Johnson. It is Connecticut basketball.
Smart job by Jana El Alfi to go straight up and ensure that she did not get another foul called on that play. Yeah, Paige Beckers and Sarah Strong both going to the scorer's table now.
20-point Connecticut lead with 1:25 to go in this first half. Connecticut outscored South Carolina 21-14 in the first. It's 22-9 right now in the second as that's tipped out of bounds. Stays here. Hey, women's basketball takes over the SEC network every Thursday. This week, the Gamecocks highlight the doubleheader. They'll host Arkansas at 7 Eastern, 6 Central, and then Flau'jae Johnson and 5th-ranked LSU host Georgia. Arnold has to get it in. Lofts it back for Strong.
Set a ball screen there, yeah.
Strong, a 3. Back ironing off. Tessa Johnson comes in for the rebound for South Carolina. Immediately trapped in the backcourt. Pow gets it up to Raven Johnson, and it's taken away by Strong. Strong with Bud, throws it at her feet, gets it back, and lays it in.
Is that a Sarah Strong assist to herself?
Felt like it. 9 points, 8 rebounds for the freshman Strong. Just a dominant first half from Connecticut. As Johnson misses the 3, Beckers pushing. Beckers the get ahead, Griffin the catch, the turn, missed the layup. in a crowd and a held ball. South Carolina does have the possession arrow.
Sarah Strong, this is a 6'2" post player, quick hands. She's able to get the steal and then passes to herself off of AZ Fudd's leg, finishing.
A big smile from AZ Fudd. A big half from the freshman Sarah Strong. A 14-2 Connecticut run. They have a 22-point lead, an 11-0 advantage in points off of turnovers. 2-second difference, game and shot clock. Hall dipping inside. Bree Hall can't finish. Rebound Strong. Still time for Connecticut. 5 seconds left. Becker's catch. Fire. No. Long rebound. And that'll do it for the first half. An absolutely dominant opening half from Connecticut here in Columbia. 45-23. They lead South Carolina. The Gamecocks, with their 71-game home winning streak on the line. Paige Beckers is with Holly Rowe.
Well, Paige, this environment is crazy, a sold-out crowd. How did you guys come out and throw the first punch early today?
It's been an emphasis in practice. We feel like a lot of these big games, we played on our heels, and we wanted to play on our feet today. Throw the first punch. We knew it was going to be a rough environment. Great environment for women's basketball to play in. So just come out here, have fun, and play with the toughness.
What stands out when you see young players like Sarah Strong, Jana El-Alfi performing at this level like this?
It's what they prepared to do. They've worked extremely hard for it in practice. It hasn't came yet, but we know if we keep working, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. They're playing tremendous. They've been tremendous this whole year. Sarah's almost got a double-double in the first half, so the bigs are doing great for us.
Just quickly, how do you absorb what will be a South Carolina punch coming out of halftime?
Yeah, we know they're going to come out strong. They're a great team, a well-coached team, so I know they'll have, Coach John will have a great speech for them at halftime to get them motivated. But we just got to stick to our game plan, stick to what we did in the first half. Don't shy away from it, embrace it, and continue to do that.
Thank you so much.
With Paige Beckers, 7 points, 6 assists, 3 rebounds. Connecticut, they knew they needed to shoot well today. They hit 7 threes in the first half on 14 attempts. El, Drea, Chene, and the halftime show coming up after this break. You are watching ESPN's Sonic Blockbuster. Thank you for watching the SEC on ESPN. Connecticut a 45-23 lead over South Carolina as we get ready to start the second half. Ryan Rucco alongside the Hall of Famer Rebecca Lobo. Connecticut just shot it lights out from 3 in that first half, Rebecca, and Paige Beckers was orchestrating a lot of those looks.
Yeah, she was able to assist to her three-point shooter in a variety of ways. You know she's going to draw a lot of defensive attention here. When she gets feet in the paint, defense collapses. And relocation by Caitlin Chen. Paige Beckers able to find her. And how about the get-aheads in transition? Head always up, looking for shooters out on the perimeter. First it's Shade, then it's AZ Fudd. Then finally off a pick and roll, just making the right reads. We talked about how important it was for her to look for her own offense. Well, she's also done a great job finding her open shooters.
7 of 14 from 3, just a huge difference from what we saw in the 3 losses that Connecticut has had this season, where they shot at a combined 24% from 3 in those games. In the first half, Paige Beckers scored or assisted on 24 points. South Carolina had 23 total points. And for South Carolina, what's on the line? Well, a 71-game home winning streak, the 4th longest in D1 history. This is the largest home deficit they've faced since December of 2018 against Baylor. And Connecticut actually won the battle of the paint in that first half, while also holding South Carolina to its lowest scoring quarter of the season with 9 in that second. It's a really electric crowd that's been waiting to see South Carolina go on a run.
These first few minutes hugely important for that, Ryan.
Right.
South Carolina wants to get that crowd engaged again.
Beckers out to Chen, her 3. Missed it badly, too much on it, and Fagan the rebound. There's Raven Johnson trying to push pace underneath. Pitts has it stripped by Chen. Now Alfie there as well. Chen doesn't see the numbers, will peel back out.
You heard the studio crew talk about it at the half, the importance of Connecticut's defense taking away the paint.
And AZ Fudd has looked good, hasn't shot it well in this game, but has been decisive and aggressive from tip. 7 points now for Fudd, 3 of 11 from the floor. Powell misses the mid-range, hits the O board, is fouled by Chen.
But if you're South Carolina, you continue to go to that on-ball screen. El Alfie playing a drop coverage. Powell got a great look off of that on-ball. Didn't get it to fall, but that's something that they can continue to go to.
And that's what you talked about at the beginning of the game as well, when South Carolina got some of their better looks. Fagan can't hit the jumper, hits the O board, hits the putback.
Chloe Kitts really does a good job with that game in and game out, getting second opportunities for herself. Sometimes it's tips to get her teammates offensive boards as well.
Connecticut's done such a good job protecting the basketball in this game. They turn it over there. A dead ball turnover, though, for Connecticut. Just their 5th turnover of the game. They get their 4th. We're talking about them being one of the better teams in the league at protecting the basketball. So critical for any team that goes up against South Carolina because of how dangerous they are in transition. Connecticut an 11-0 edge and points off turnovers as South Carolina gives it right back. Becker's down the floor. Chen through the lane, flips it in.
Caitlin Chen has also been pretty solid for UConn, looking for her offense.
Connecticut players talked about how upset they were after that Tennessee loss, trying to use it as a rallying cry to build off of. They're delivering today as that pass stays here. South Carolina facing its largest deficit of the season.
When we talk about the battle of the points in the paint, often it's South Carolina getting their bigs involved, but it's also transition. It's guards with dribble penetration. They have not been able to successfully do any of those things consistently today.
Powell to the corner. Hall can't hit. Rebound Beckers. Here's Beckers. Swiftly up the floor. Fudd a 3 is good. Connecticut pouring it on in Columbia. It's a 27-point lead.
Ryan, this is a different UConn team than we've seen in any of their other big-time matchups this season. The confidence, their ability to hit from deep.
Chen comes in. Kitts still comes away with it. Kitts turns the corner, can't bank it in. Fagan able to finish through the contact. Well, to your point, Rebecca, that's why I thought it was so interesting. Gino Auriemma told us before the game, he needs to see AZ Fudd remain aggressive, even if she misses her first few, as Payne can't quite spin that one in. And that's what we've seen from Fudd, right? Missed her first 3 shots.
But
well,
looking
kept
confident.
shooting. Yes, exactly. Now up to 10 points. Has gotten more efficient as the day has gone on. And just the way she has played has been with a different aggression. Same for Beckers. We did not see that in those 3 losses against those ranked teams. Chen lobbing it in. Strong the seal and the finish.
Much like the matchup a year ago, UConn also being very intentional, pushing pace, taking shots early, looking for the best shot they had the first time around. Oftentimes, they switch sides of the floor, a little bit more methodical offensively.
Bree Hall's pull-up is good.
She's been really good getting to her mid-range spots, Ryan.
Here's Fudd. Fakes the 3 on the drive, lays it in. And again, the pace that Connecticut is playing with, they're generating so many good looks in transition as Beckers picks up the foul. That'll be her first.
We talked at the half about Paige Beckers advancing the basketball, finding her 3-point shooters. AZ Fudd, defender goes behind, the handoff, and then AZ Fudd fake and go right by. Just been a clinic offensively right now for Connecticut.
Let's check in with Holly Rowe.
After the loss at Tennessee, Gino Auriemma was really hard on his players in the post-game press conference and behind the scenes. He is a master at pushing buttons. What do they need and when do they need it to get them to respond? And he was hard. It was tough love. It's what he's done throughout the course of his career. That's why he's the winningest coach of all time, men's and women's. But his players have responded. Paige Beckers, she is pushing every button right now. 8 assists. They have been aggressive. They have wanted the ball, and that's what he challenged them. He said, if you want the ball, you've got to want it when it's hard, and they've done that today.
And what did Coach Auriemma tell the 3 of us before the game? We are going to be a very good team in March. All of these games, January, February, leading up to it, are preparing his team for March.
Well, one of the things he talked about was how much more difficult it can be to hit shots in the environments that they've played in where they have lost games, whether it was at Tennessee, at Notre Dame, here today at Columbia, where they finally have hit shots.
And we're talking about the pace of play. What's different about UConn this year than in previous years? They finally have depth.
Yeah.
They have players who can come in off the bench and sustain this pace.
27-point advantage for Connecticut. Chen dives in, can't finish but gets fouled. And Caitlin Chen is going to shoot two. Hey, our next TGL matches are Monday. We'll have 3 of them. LA takes on Atlanta at 1 Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific on ESPN, followed by Atlanta in the Bay, and we'll cap the night on ESPN2 with the Bay and Boston Common at 7 Eastern. We'll remind our audience, Texas LSU, a top 5 matchup coming up next on ABC.
And talking about Texas right there, what's really interesting to me with South Carolina coming off that Texas loss, like Texas didn't give UConn a blueprint. Texas is a team that didn't make a single 3 in that game. They had size and depth in the paint. They were able to really get out defensively and disrupt South Carolina. That's not what UConn does. They've been able to collapse and disrupt South Carolina defensively in the paint. They've been able to get out and make threes. Just 2 contrasting styles, and both have been effective here against South Carolina.
This is obviously, it's a big hole now for South Carolina at 28 points. Where does Dawn Staley go to try and get her group back in this game?
They've got to get stops. They've got to get something in transition, and Pow's not on the floor now, but you're going to need some threes.
What a pass from Phil Wiley. And Edwards is fouled and will shoot 2. South Carolina only averages hitting about 6 threes a game. They're 2 of 11 so far today. Connecticut 8 for 16.
And different from the first half when South Carolina had their big lineup in, when UConn went small, now South Carolina going small with UConn small.
Holly?
Well, Joyce Edwards has been a masterful freshman, but she has been in this building on this court before. She went to a camp for Dawn Staley, and as part of winning the MVP of that camp, she got to be a ball girl for a day. She got to meet her hero and idol, Asia Wilson. She's just 12 years old in that photo, so she is right at home here in Colonial Life.
I mean, so cool, Holly, as Phil Wiley comes through with a ridiculous rejection. And she sparks some life into South Carolina. Phil Wiley gets fouled, and Malaysia Phil Wiley will shoot 2, trying to provide a boost off the bench. This is one way to do it, Rebecca. Wow.
How about this young athlete going in? Malaysia! Wow.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Sonic Fun 99 menu, now with the Junior Deluxe Cheeseburger. You are watching our Sonic Blockbuster matchup. Third quarter action in Columbia, a place where South Carolina has won 71 straight games. 4th longest streak in D1 history, but it has been all Connecticut thus far today. A 26-point lead. Connecticut trying to snap a 4-game losing streak against South Carolina. And for Wiley, off of a big rejection, now at the free throw line, trying to inject some life into the Gamecocks.
And many of those losses for Connecticut to South Carolina were 20-point losses.
Right.
Like, no one expected what we've seen so far here in these first 2.5 quarters. South Carolina now picking up in full court pressure.
Casey Fudd makes the catch, crosses the timeline. Out to Beckers, back to Fudd, wide open. You bet! Casey Fudd having a big third quarter.
And that's what you have to worry about when you pick up in that full court pressure, is the open look going the other way when you beat the front line.
And Dad has had a lot to stand up and cheer about today. Daughter Azzi has hit her last 4 shots.
And once again here, just coming down, and it's an assist from Paige Beckers. Joyce Edwards caught between 2 great shooters, toggles back and forth. Azzi drains it.
And Paige Beckers turns it over on the inbound. You see Azzi's dad explaining she went over the end line on that inbound. A rare mistake there from Beckers. You know, this is a rare game for Beckers and Fudd to be together, as Tessa Johnson can't hit the 3. Remember, they intended on playing their entire careers here together in Connecticut, but because of the injuries they both have suffered, this is just the 36th time of 139 games that they've been on the floor together, and you see how good it can look when it's at its best. Bud zips in, bounces to Griffin, waits, and gets fouled by Raven Johnson. Aubrey Griffin will shoot two.
And Izzy Fudd came to UConn known as an incredible three-point shooter, and what we've seen even just in this game, Ryan, is the versatility of what she can do on the offensive end. Some pump fakes and drives, that time pump fake, drive in, and dish it off. This is an important game for Izzy Fudd because she also has struggled at times in her career in some of these big matchups, and yeah, just in terms of confidence, this is a big game for her.
15 points for Fudd, and also big that it didn't start great as far as the results go from the way she was shooting the basketball, but she has stuck with it and gotten hot now in this third. Beckers, meanwhile, has 9 assists, has tied her season high, and the Connecticut lead is 29 over South Carolina.
Connecticut also now extending their pressure after the free throw.
Bree Hall buries the three.
That's a good start. That's a good start for South Carolina. They're going to have to make some from deep, create some turnovers, get transition as well.
Their third three of the game. Izzy Fudd fakes the three, drive, kick. Shade hit her first three from deep, and Beckers turns it over.
And there's the stop.
And Gina Oriamo is trying to tell Paige just to shoot that basketball rather than drive it. 6th turnover for Connecticut. This crowd is just begging to have something to get them fired up. Here's Pow Pow. Dumping it in, Edwards lays it home. There's that pick and roll with Pow Pow and Edwards.
Screen, re-screen with those two. It puts a lot of teams in a lot of trouble. There it was UConn.
Edwards, the freshman, has played very well today. Only member of South Carolina in double figures. Heard that awesome story with Holly before about her meeting Asia Wilson at 12 years old. Asia's number 22 going up into the rafters a couple weeks ago as Shade leaves that one short. Griffin the rebound, Fudd in the corner, connects! Izzy Fudd has hit her last 5 and is up to 18 points. Hall, Euros, can't finish. Shade the rebound. Remember, Fudd coming off a 34.83 game. Shade can't hit that one. Arnold on the offensive glass, no. And Connecticut has also gotten second chance opportunities with these O boards. So rare you see that against South Carolina. As Fudd is called for the foul and free throws for Pow Pow.
Izzy Fudd is feeling it and feeling confident, and you see her on the far side, the right side of your screen, just goes out to the three-point line. Forget that mid-range, Izzy Fudd, retreat to the corner three.
She is 26 for her last 41 from three, including today, over the last 6 games. I'm talking about over 60% from three over this 6-game stretch for Izzy Fudd.
And when you look at Connecticut's losses this year, Izzy Fudd did not play against Notre Dame because she was injured. In the USC loss, it was her first game back, so it was in limited minutes.
But Wiley comes up with a steal and lays it in. For Wiley knows how to spark this crowd.
Different level of defensive intensity and pressure here.
Fudd, not that time, her first miss of the quarter. But again, South Carolina unable to secure the defensive glass.
And it's been UConn's guards that have been able to get in there and wreak some havoc on the glass.
Connecticut a plus 10 rebounding. As for Wiley will check out.
She's done her part to get this crowd engaged and involved.
Beckers to the corner, Fudd. Does she get the roll? She does! It's been that kind of stretch for AZ Fudd. Now has 21 points and 5 threes on the day. She has 16 points in the quarter. Bree Hall can't hit. Here's Fudd out in transition. AZ Fudd lays it in.
And a lot of this run, Ryan, has come with Sarah Strong on the bench. This is a really small lineup for UConn.
AZ Fudd, 18 points on 7 of 8 shooting in the quarter. You're right, Rebecca. Normally it's Strong, who went out with her 3rd foul, who would be playing the 5 with this lineup. Instead, it's been Griffin.
Griffin 6'1", with a slight frame. UConn has been able to do this just going super small.
Beckers, 9 assists on the day. Beckers to the corner. Arnold finds Fudd. Fudd leaning, can't bank that one in. Hall the rebound.
Shade's pressure does enough to slow South Carolina down a bit.
And then speed them up. As Raven Johnson throws it away.
One thing you can do to slow down a fast break is contest the rebounder, and Ashley Shade did that very well there.
Shot clock is turned off. Connecticut can hold for a final shot at the end of this 3rd. They are 11 for 22 from 3 in this game. Beckers letting it wind. 10 seconds left in the 3rd. Here's Griffin turning the corner, storming in, can't finish. Arnold there. Arnold can't get it to drop. Able to save it, and that'll do it for the 3rd. Connecticut a 26-point lead after 3. AZ Fudd, 18 in the frame.
What a 10 minutes for AZ Fudd. Confidently draining the 3, tickle the rim, and then driving in as well, showing her versatility. Wow.
Connecticut a 26-point lead on South Carolina as we get ready to start the 4th quarter. Moments ago, Holly Rowe caught up with South Carolina head coach Dawn Staley.
Coach, what do you need to see from your team in the 4th quarter, despite the score?
Yeah, we just have to get tougher, okay? I think all of our habits are showing up at the wrong time, and you can't do that against a team like UConn. They got it going on. They're shooting the ball extremely well. They're defending us. You know, we're taking bad shots, and they're making us pay for it. All the above doesn't equal to getting a win.
When you go talk to your team right now, what will that message be?
Just toughness. We got to get back to playing good basketball, try to create some good habits, and take them back into the SEC, see if we can finish strong.
Thanks, Coach.
Dawn Staley's teams always do bounce back as we take a look at tonight's Sonic Blockbuster. And the largest home loss by an AP top 5 team since the 99-2000 season was a 30-point loss from UNC at the hands of Connecticut. Connecticut's last win versus a top 5 team on the road by 20 or more was March 20 of 14 at Louisville. And South Carolina's largest home loss under Dawn Staley was 31 points versus Stanford, December of 2008, as Fulwiley lays it in.
Little on-ball screen for Malaysia Fulwiley to use her quickness and explosiveness to get to the rim.
Sarah Strong back in, sat for a while after picking up her 3rd foul in that 3rd. But Connecticut was able to have success with their extremely small lineup. AZ Fudd dances inside and finishes. AZ Fudd, who has been projected to go as high as number 3 in this upcoming WNBA draft, has been showing everything in that pro bag today. Well, you called for the foul there as Maddie McDaniel will shoot 2.
You have to respect AZ Fudd at the 3-point line because she's such a good shooter from deep, and we've seen when the defenders have come out now, both drives right and drives left, finishing in the mid-range, finishing at the rim, dishing to teammates.
McDaniel misses the first. For a little more on AZ, let's check in with Holly.
We talked about the mental strength that AZ Fudd has had to deal with. She overcame a very significant knee injury that was in high school. Got to UConn. She's had 2 more knee injuries here. She has been in rehab more than she's been in games in the last 2 years. She actually said it's been very difficult. She started seeing a sports psychologist this year to help her process, help her move on from tough moments. And AZ Fudd showing us maybe one of her best mentally strong performances of her career today.
Yeah, she's been incredible, Hollis. Beckers throws that away. And also gives you an idea of what Connecticut can look like with Fudd on the floor playing at her best.
Paige Beckers has 7 points. I mean, she's been so good offensively and 10 assists on the day, but 7 points. But when AZ Fudd is shooting like this, it's just a game changer for Connecticut.
Johnson can't hit the 3. Beckers the rebound, her 6th.
Great look.
And how about this? Paige Beckers with her 10th assist, becoming just the 3rd UConn player with 2,000 points, 500 rebounds, 500 assists, joining Maya Moore and Diana Taurasi, 2 of the all-time greats in women's basketball history. Ashlyn Shade doesn't get the roll. Shade made a real difference in that first half, coming out and hitting her first 3 attempts from deep. Edwards, this is the jumper.
Nice penetrating kick, though, from McDaniel.
And you can hear the groans from the crowd there, because even on offensive possessions where everything has gone right, the shots have not fallen today for South Carolina.
2 great looks in a row. Corner 3 and then that mid-range shot.
Fudd step back 3. It is good. AZ Fudd is all the way dialed in. 28 points. 6 for 9 from downtown. Pow evades the pressure and lays it in. Really nice take there from Tahina Pow. You know, you could get a sense of it a little bit in Coach Staley's interview there with Holly, and she's had this perspective throughout the season about what you learn from losses, what you learn from games like this, using them as a team to continue to build in your season. And you could hear that where she was just talking to Holly about just focusing on playing with a little more toughness, trying to take that then back into conference play. As Fulwiley shovels it in, plus the foul. Mylasia Fulwiley can bring you a highlight at any moment.
And to your point, to build some momentum in these last 10 minutes. And how about the head and shoulder fake? Getting it off over the outstretched arm of Sarah Strong.
And number 4, check that. They will not call it on Strong. They will call it on Ashlyn Shade instead. And it will be Shade's 3rd. Fulwiley completes the 3-point play. Here's Fudd. They just changed the foul back to Sarah Strong.
And that's the right call.
Yeah. We can only be the messenger here, folks. Beckers can't hit the 3. Shade, another offensive rebound. So number 4 on Strong. Fudd in and out. Everything has looked spot on for Fudd as she finds Strong, who lays it in, plus the foul, and a chance for 3 for Sarah Strong.
Well, first, that was an incredible pass from Paige Beckers from the right corner to the left wing for Fudd to get a really good look, and then offensive board again. Just another offensive rebound for Connecticut. Right place, right time, and delivery to Sarah Strong.
Sarah Strong, 13 points, 10 rebounds. Staying on the floor with those 4 fouls for now. And Strong completes the 3-point play. Now we'll check out. El Alfie in as Gina Auriemma gives some instruction to Paige Beckers as she gets a breather. 26-point Connecticut lead. What's at stake? Well, UConn 15 20-point wins against the AP top 5 in the last 25 seasons. South Carolina with the 4th longest home winning streak in Division I history.
Maddie McDaniel has done some really nice things here late for South Carolina.
And now, Dawn Staley told us before the game she felt like Maddie McDaniel was going to help them down the stretch. the speed with which she plays with.
She can get by defenders off the bounce.
Also said she does a nice job staying in front defensively, so trust her enough on that end as well. KK Arnold out of bounds. Last hit, El Alfie, as Connecticut turns it over. 9th turnover for Connecticut. They're 5th in the nation, turning it over just 10.8 times per game. A reminder, LSU, Texas coming up next, a top 5 matchup on ABC. Cole Wiley, back ironing off, Fudd the rebound. Fudd, what a dish. Arnold gives it back. And Connecticut's going to run some more clock at the instruction of Gino Auriemma. Meanwhile, South Carolina's had some good looks from 3 in this game, but just 3 for 16 now. And that's not the bread and butter of their offense, but
they are a good
but they shoot it well
team,
enough, yes. Shade leaning, can't hit, and Edwards the rebound. Under 5 minutes to go in this 4th. McDaniel, wow, nice handle. Maddie McDaniel all the way in. Couldn't finish it. And timeout taken by Connecticut. 4:38 to go in the 4th. And South Carolina's 71-game home winning streak is on the line with UConn up 24.
What's up, y'all? It's Madison Booker here. I know y'all tuned into a great game, UConn versus South Carolina on ABC. I'm just telling y'all, stay tuned also for the matchup against LSU and Texas. Hook 'em.
Well, Madison Booker, one of the most talented players in the country, only a sophomore, has been great during Texas's 9-game winning streak. Texas 8 wins against ranked opponents, second most in the last 20 seasons. And the LSU with their dynamic trio, Laje and Isamaro, Michaela Williams, 4th among D1 trios in combined points per game. Meanwhile, here in South Carolina, the day started early. The fans filing in for game day. Always a terrific atmosphere, a student section wonderful here in Columbia. But Connecticut came out red hot from 3, and they have not looked back as Strong gets fouled on a beautiful delivery from Beckers. And Sarah Strong is going to shoot 2. We're going to step aside, come back, 4:35 to go in the 4th.
Welcome back to Columbia, Ryan. We need to figure out what AZ Fudd did at halftime today. She was 2 for 10 in the first half and then came out on fire. 9 of 12 here in the second. We've seen her hit threes, drive to the basket, find teammates, hit the mid-range. She has been outstanding offensively and efficient here in the second half.
Take a look at what AZ Fudd has done over the last 3 games. Over 26 points per and 19 of 30 from 3. It's just been so hard to get her and Paige Beckers on the floor together. But you see what the offense can look like for Connecticut with Fudd shooting like this and on the floor with Beckers dishing, who has 10 assists today. Sarah Strong at the line. The freshman hits her first. Let's send things over to Holly.
Well, Sarah Strong's been unbelievable. That's her mom, Allison Feaster, who was a terrific player at Harvard, played in the WNBA, and I talked to her about, what is your relationship with your parents like? Danny Strong, her father, was also a terrific player at NC State, and she said they have been the most wonderful blend of loving and critical. After her high school games, they would all watch film together on Zoom, even if they were in different places. Her parents have nurtured her, have loved her, but also been very hard on her so that she is prepared for a big moment like this. 16 points, 10 rebounds for the freshman in her first time here.
And Dawn Staley was funny about it, Holly. Thank you very much. Talking before the game, because she had been teammates with Allison Feaster in Charlotte, and said, I don't know what happened. Allison didn't deliver Sarah here to South Carolina rather than to Connecticut. But then Dawn went on to say she was happy for her and could tell the rhythm of her game, the fit with Connecticut has been so good for Sarah Strong. And there's Dawn and Allison Feaster, the Charlotte Sting teammates for multiple seasons. back in the early 2000s, Hal.
And Ryan, I do want to say, Dawn should not feel bad. I think the proximity of Allison working for the Boston Celtics organization, that is much closer to UConn if Mom wants to come and watch games. So this is no shade on Dawn. Let's be clear.
No. I'm pretty sure South Carolina's done just fine recruiting for a while.
And talking about the post-game Zooms and breaking down film together, Sarah said, you know, my parents were always asking, like, is this too much? Is this okay? Like, very aware.
Yes. Deckers buries the three and then says, thank you, Lord, for getting one to drop. 2 of 5 from downtown now on the day. Connecticut is 13 of 27. For Wiley, which she just has such a wiggle to her movements, able to get free, just couldn't quite lay it in.
Winner Gino Randall will get Paige Beckers out these last couple of minutes of the game, get some of the starters out.
Going to send AZ Fudd back in, it seems. Here's Strong. Beckers gives it up. Chen on the drive. It's blocked from behind by Full Wiley, taken by Edwards. McDaniel cutting through, leaves it short. Strong, another rebound. Her 12th. Up ahead, Chen alone lays it in. It is a 29-point Connecticut lead. And it has been all UConn since late in the first. They were down 11-9, went on a 9-0 run, and never looked back.
This has been a stunning course of events. I did not expect this at all.
Edwards has shown brightest for South Carolina today. The freshman was 17. Espo Wiley gets called for the foul there. So the top 16 was revealed earlier today. And Connecticut slated to be a 2 seed in Birmingham, 3 South Carolina, 1 seed in the 2 overall. UCLA, the 1 overall, the selection special, March 16th, 8 Eastern on ESPN. But Rebecca, I know you said right off the top, look, you know, this game for Connecticut really wasn't about seeding.
No, I don't think for Connecticut coming in, the players or the coaches care very much about that. What region they're in, what they're seeded. They needed to prove to themselves that they could beat a top-tier opponent, and especially a top-tier opponent on the road. They lost at Notre Dame, they lost at Tennessee. How do they handle these environments? How do they handle these situations? Well, certainly they handled it very, very well today. I mean, this is their last big game, frankly, Ryan, until they get into, what, the 2nd or 3rd round of the NCAA tournament.
They had lost 3 straight games against AP-ranked opponents, tied for the longest streak for a UConn team since the 92-93 season, when they lost 7 straight. They lost 3 straight as well in 04-05. So just a huge game for them mentally, as you say, Rebecca. Meanwhile, for South Carolina, it's a little different, right? They've beaten top teams. They don't need that necessarily. They came into this game 5-2 against the AP top 10. But then the question becomes, where does South Carolina go from here, Rebecca?
Well, I think, you know, you heard Dawn Staley talk about it in the quarter interview, is like, what can we use to grow from? You know, can we get back to being a little bit more dominant on the glass? Can we work through things better on the defensive end? You know, they're most likely not going to run into this kind of a buzzsaw in terms of 3-point field goals and percentages again the rest of their SEC season, but they got to get back to their defensive identity, their rebounding, and their transition offense.
Yeah, UConn in this game, a plus 19 now on the glass. You just never see that against South Carolina.
It's interesting, too, Dawn Staley mentioned in her interview 2 times, she mentioned toughness for her team, and that's something that you almost never see questioned when it comes to a South Carolina team.
Now Beckers and Fudd will check out after the signature performance for each of them thus far in their senior season. Beckers with 10 assists, 7 rebounds, 12 points. AZ Fudd with 28 points, 23 of them coming in the second half. Connecticut, who looked very vulnerable against Tennessee, against Notre Dame, looked as opposite that as you possibly could here today. cosmetic at this point. 36 seconds remaining. And South Carolina's 71-game home winning streak is going to end here today. Last time South Carolina lost at home, we got to go back to December 3rd, 2020 against NC State. COVID days with the limited fans in the stands. Dawn Staley was recounting that on game day earlier today with Elchine Andrea. Griffin puts it up. Adele Tact with the rebound. But Wiley will get it across the timeline. And that will do it. A dominant performance from the Connecticut Huskies as they take down South Carolina 87-58 the final. South Carolina's 71-game home winning streak ends today at the hands of the Huskies. Connecticut 13 for 28 from 3 in this game. Completely flipped the script on what the issue had been in their previous 3 losses, and a big boost for Connecticut confidence-wise before they go back into Big East play and start to head towards the NCAA tournament. AZ Fudd, a monster performances with Holly Rowe.
Well, AZ, the last 3 games you have gone absolutely off. What has changed for you?
I think just my mindset, and I wouldn't say it was just me. I would say as a collective unit, I feel like our mindset has changed. I think these last couple weeks since our last loss, our focus has been different. Our practices have had a new kind of intensity to them, and I think, you know, I've been talking with Coach Morgan, just stacking good days. I think as a collective unit, we've been stacking great days, and it showed off today.
This team here was on a 71-game home winning streak. This building was electric. How did you guys come out and really change the tone and then dominate the tone throughout the course of the game?
Playing UConn basketball and staying confident, staying poised, playing smart like we know how to do. I think we've learned from our last games, like I just said. Our last games that we've lost, we've either played good in the first half, good in the second half. In this game, it was our mentality to play good the entire 40 minutes, and that's what we did.
What does this mean for your team psychologically, that we can beat the top-tier teams? Like, prove to yourselves you're capable.
I mean, a great confidence booster. Seeing ourselves do it. I mean, this is my first time beating them since I've been here, and it was great to finally play again, play here. So I think, you know, just having this confidence, seeing our, not just knowing that we can do it, but seeing ourselves do it, I think that's going to take us to that next level.
For you personally, you have been through so much. I don't know if I've ever seen you play better than you did today. What does it mean after everything you've had to fight through?
It means so much. I mean, it's really all of my teammates. They played incredible tonight. They got me open shots. They made great passes, gave me great looks. So I'm just so grateful to play on such a selfless team. I mean, everyone was putting their bodies on the line tonight, hustling, and I mean, I'm so grateful to be here.
Thanks, AZ.
Thank you so much.
All right, Holly, AZ, thank you very much. AZ Fudd with 28 points today and 23 of them coming in the second half.
And the incredible versatility in her offensive game. We know she can make threes, and she certainly was able to do that today, but got out in transition, attacked the rim, found teammates at times as well, especially with that 2 for 10 start in the first half. She remained confident and she remained aggressive, and it was exactly what Connecticut needed from her.
Welcome you back on camera here, Ryan Ruocco and the Hall of Famer Rebecca Lobo. All right, so Rebecca, you talked about it. You felt like Connecticut really needed a performance like this just mentally to convince themselves they can play with a team like South Carolina and the best in the nation.
I think until today, the question was, is UConn really a championship contender?
Right.
Because they've looked great against some different teams, and then against the top-ranked teams in the country, they have struggled at times, especially with their shooting. Today's performance tells you, yes, especially when UConn shoots the ball like this, they are a national championship contender.
Yeah, they shot it well today. 13 of 28 from 3 in this game. For our producer, Kerry Callahan, our director, Jimmy Platt, the Hall of Famers, Rebecca Lobo and Holly Rowe. I'm Ryan Ruocco. UConn wins it big, 87-58 over South Carolina. We'll head to studio, and then remember, we got LSU Texas coming too.